Alright, now I'm going to talk about the applications for the beginning or Hoi-6 sequence. So at the beginning, the very first thing I do is touch the dummy here. Now first of all, touching the dummy in this position actually sets up my distance from the dummy so that I know exactly where I should start in relation. I don't want to start too far away or too close to it. So by touching the sides of the dummy with the side of your hand here, you're actually getting yourself the distance. This could also be interpreted as the Nan-Wun hit from the Buji form. So when I'm going with Gavin here, anytime that I, for example, trap the shoulder or use my forearm, that's the same sort of area that I'm using here when I touch the dummy. Now, the next thing that I do here is pull my arms back and pull inward. Now that's partially to set up the dummy nicely when you're doing the form. In other words, you don't know if the last guy that hit it left one arm pushed that way and the other arm that way. Or you don't know if he left one arm there and the other one there, or vice versa. So when you first come in here and you touch them together, what you're doing is you're pushing both arms to the middle to get it set up nicely. Now, also when you do this, you notice that you have a backward twist of your arm. Okay? That could be interpreted as one of the iron palm strikes. And in Wing Chun, when we use the elbow to strike downward, we twist the hand to add the power, twisting power to the downward straight strike. So anytime when I hit Gavin here, for example, and I'm going to use my elbow strike down, what I'll do is twist at the last minute to add that extra little bit of snap to the elbow strike. Now I can also use that inward twisting elbow to pick off low punches to the body when my arm is extended. If I had hit and my arm was out and he went to punch me, I can use that downward elbow to pick off the punch and another. So I can use it here. So that same downward twist can be used to pick off the punches. You can also use the downward elbow like this to block a side kick. Say we're closed, and Gavin went to side kick me in the ribs. I can use that downward elbow to bang down on his leg and stop the kick from hitting me. Now, another thing that this sequence does is it sets up what I call the semicircle around the dummy. Now, when I first open up, and I open my stance here, if you were to take and measure the distance to the middle of my foot from the core of the dummy, and then, say on a string, take and put a piece of chalk on a string and draw a semicircle, the same distance around the dummy, that semicircle is where I do all of my stepping in the form. So where it might look in some cases like I'm actually stepping sideways, what I'm really doing is stepping along the semicircle. Like the Wing Chun proverb that I talked about earlier, it actually tells you that even though you're moving around the dummy, you maintain your same body proximity, the same distance from the dummy. So when you set up that semicircle, it's very important, first of all, that you've got your distance right, and that you know from here on where you're going to step in relation to the dummy.